Good morning, walkers, and welcome back to City Walks. We are once again doing actual city instead of nature walks. I'm kind of psyched about this road trip we're on. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a little bit. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide as we walk and explore and just kind of find our way around this town. If you haven't liked or if you haven't subscribed yet, could you please do that? It helps us out a lot, actually, and helps Google find us. Like and then comment. Love getting your comments. I'll talk about that a little bit probably too. It is a beautiful morning. Well, first of all, thank you so much to our Patreons, supporters. Your support makes road trips like this a little bit more possible. And it really does encourage me. I love, I don't know, it's just a cool vote of support. I set the level to one level really low just to see what would happen. I didn't really think anybody would support this channel, but you have, and I appreciate that a lot, and I love interacting with you on that forum as well. So, thank you. We are today in Sioux City, Iowa. It is 7:40 in the morning here in what they're calling the historic 4th Street district. It's 34 degrees, but not windy, which is nice. This is the Hard Rock Cafe, Hotel, and Casino. I guess gambling is legal in Iowa, or maybe just in certain parts. What else can I tell you? I sort of have this preamble done as we go along. Oh yeah, this is a Treadmill travel video and a relaxing travel channel. And I guess this is the end of the 4th Street Historic District, but we'll pop out here and see a little bit more. 406, there we go. Look at these cool old buildings. I talk about it being an exploration. It's because I do a little research before I come to these places and start exploring. I love this old garage door. Still an auto service. But part of the joy for me, in addition to your comments, are just kind of discovering things and exploring and finding new little nooks and crannies that may not be on the beaten track, may not be on the Wikipedia page or the Chamber of Commerce website. I gotta zip up my jacket a little bit here. It's a little chilly. I just want to take a moment. Like these ornate buildings and signs, they're very retro, very well taken care of, but they're not what I would expect to be like breweries or tapas bars or something like that. Tapas, not topless. Which I think is kind of cool. That they've got these sort of almost boutique-y, but they don't seem like they are boutique-y things. We're coming up on 5th Street here. That's how I came into town. It's a long-winded way of saying I don't really know much about Sioux City other than what I read on the Wikipedia page. So we're gonna find out some stuff together. Excuse me, got the morning cruds. This is Albrecht Cycle. It's kind of a cool town. It's only about 75, I think. Is that right? 85,000 people. A little bit more. Maybe 87. As of 2020. In the city, 4th largest city in Iowa. And we're on the far western side. It's kind of where the big Sioux River, what we saw at Sioux Falls, and the Missouri River come together. So it's kind of a gateway town. It was founded in about 1850 something. And of course, there's the only death of the expedition for Lewis and Clark actually occurred here, Sergeant Floyd. A couple memorials to him as we explore downtown here, which I was a little surprised, but it's because of the rivers became kind of a navigation hub. Coming up on Pearl Street here. Love some of these older facades. Yeah, oh, it's kind of a neat mural up here. Should remember Pearl Street, that's where I parked. I'm gonna cross over real quick. Although I kind of want to see that. Yeah, we will see the mural. I really enjoy coming out and seeing cities in the morning. There's just something kind of invigorating about seeing them wake up and come alive. And a note about frame rates. I've been filming the last few videos at 60 frames a second on the Osmo Pocket 2, and I've switched back to 24 frames, and I want to see, sort of do a little comparison, if I can remember to do that, between the two and see which one I like better. I know a lot of people have requested 60 frames a second. It makes the image very crisp, and you can see that by doing a comparison on your own here on YouTube. It's a really cool mural. We'll get a little closer. But it's a data rate issue, which is kind of a technical side of things. It means more data per frame at 24 than at 60. Isn't that cool? I had a commenter today, or yesterday, I guess they commented. They were on the watching the Mannlichen hike from Switzerland. Oh, it is a bit loud. Coming up on Douglas. The river's off to the right, by the way. Anyway, this person was saying how much they appreciated how little I talked in that video. No music, etc. Stable. And I couldn't help but thinking, it's like, oh boy, I hate to break it to you, but it's gotten so I can't really be quiet. I know a lot of you like that, and I'm glad, because I enjoy interacting with you guys. It feels like more of a conversation, but I had a little giggle out of that. We are in the central time zone here. This looks like a courthouse type building. Maybe a justice center. We arrived here last night in the dark and didn't get a good look at downtown. It's a lot bigger than I expected. Pleasantly surprised to find out. This is 6th Street that we're going to cross. Actually, we're going to go left, because it looks like some more older buildings over there, and then we'll come back into downtown. There's a police and fire headquarters building. I guess this is probably a federal building. It says federal parking permit only. We'll get a good view of the sign here. Federal Courthouse. Had a little interesting road rage, not rage, that's extreme, but interaction on the way in. This guy came off the highway and this guy started flashing his lights at me behind, and it wasn't just one lane. It was about to split into 2 or 3, and so I pulled over into the lane I was going to go I guess he wanted me to pull over earlier. An older guy in a truck. And, you know, there's a temptation to react in the same way, aggressively. And I patted myself on the shoulder for not. Which is kind of silly because that's kind of the bare minimum, right? We're not supposed to be jerks. We shouldn't pat ourselves on the back for not being a jerk. Look at that skyline there. Anyway, a reminder of how different life is in small towns versus big cities. We get the urge to rush around, sense of urgency that maybe is not justified. And I love visiting these cities. Sorry, putting on my gloves. I have to do it with my mouth. These old buildings. But the pace and the frenetic lifestyle is not one that I want to spend my whole time. I don't want that to be my lifestyle, I guess. Totally recognize it. That's really works for some people. And I was thinking as well, the other day about how that's kind of a universal thing. I it's obviously a blanket statement when you say universal. But I've traveled around a lot, and people will complain about, the French are so rude or something. That's a big thing in America. It's a trope or a cliche, but that's not true in my experience. French people I've met have been very kind. I will say that people in Paris can be somewhat short-tempered, but that's true in any big city in the United States as well. New Yorkers aren't really, I'm not going to go down there, but any big city, like this sort of building could use, and maybe it's getting a rehab. I'd love to see that. It's that sort of gruff protective armor people put on, I think, in big cities out of necessity. And you know what? Feel free to disagree with me in the comments below. Just be a little, be gentle. Totally willing to hear other people's point of view on that. And I don't mean to single out Paris or New York. Just a couple examples to illustrate my view there. We're on 7th Street, and we are coming up on, I don't see a street sign, so, look at this. This is a very cool building as well. I thought maybe it was an apartment building, but you can see the eagle at the crest of that part jutting out. That is super cool. Looks like another courthouse, maybe a county or state courthouse. I'm going to cross over. We'll get to see a sign here. Nope, I don't see a street sign. And there's a law enforcement center across the way there. We're just going to keep meandering here. And I'm actually really impressed with Sioux City. I think I mentioned. Love these old buildings. This building in particular is, look at the work around the doorway here and the sculptures and the ironwork. I love it. Justice and humanity. I have to imagine this is the county courthouse. Look at this, the colored tiles, and I guess that's bronze maybe. Very cool. we've been here. Oh, I was going to tell you about my mention for those of you who aren't regulars here or maybe new to the channel. My son and I, oldest one, are on our way east. We're doing a road trip from Montana out to the East Coast, and we're going to meet up with Traveling Mel to see some family in South Carolina, and I'm going to see some friends, and we're going to film some walking videos, obviously. And my son's super into doing state high points, and he wants to do all 50, and some are going to be a little bit more challenging than others, such as Denali in Alaska. But we did our first one on this trip, our second one ever, in Iowa yesterday at Hawkeye Point, and it was, let some of this sound pass. Look at this cool building. I'm going to get back to the high point, but in my sort of caveats that I kind of do at the beginning about this being an exploration channel, I should add in how easily distracted I am. I love all this cool facade work on these buildings. This one looks like it could do a little bit of updating, but it's got some chips on it. But look at how ornate all those windows are. Just love it. How easily distracted I am and how kind of rambling I am with these talks as I bumble about. Oh yeah, the expedition. So basically we got there after dark, and basically you drive up within 10 feet of it. We did. And it's got all these signs. It was fun. He was super psyched to be there. I'll try to post a picture on Instagram, but on Facebook. But it was, as you would expect from Iowa, which actually does have some hills. He was telling me, It was not much of an expert. It was no Denali, but it was still really exciting and really fun. Here's another look at all the stuff around the windows and all that kind of stonework. This is Pierce Street, I guess we're on. I love, it's got big D's and a little copper, the light against the roof there. Almost like it's gilded, but it's not. Sorry, I know I'm sort of probably making you guys dizzy with these random swings. It's a cool theater. This is the Orpheum Theater. The flashing and the frame rate are probably going to do weird things, but 20 years and still rocking. Kind of reminds me of an area around in London, not far from Trafalgar. I think it's the theater district. I forget what it's called. And now we've got this new variant out that's people are shutting down borders again. I think we were hoping to travel to Japan in February, but I think we're going to have to put that off. So, unfortunate, but the reality of the world. Nope. You're never quite sure what you're going to get in terms of, in terms of interactions with people on the street when you're downtown, anywhere. And last night, I was walking back to my car in, where was I? This is 5th Street. Sioux Falls, that's where I was. Push a button here. And this guy asked me if I'm all right. Well, that's strange. He didn't seem, sometimes you get people with mental illness that are rambling or ranting, but he didn't seem like that, younger guy. And I was like, yeah, man, thanks for asking. He's like, all right, you okay? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, I was like, thanks a lot for asking, take care. I was like, well, this is a super nice guy. Not sure why I gave him the impression I needed help. He was like, all right, well, let me know, I'm around. And then it kind of clicked. He was asking me if I needed drugs. I'm pretty sure. And I was kind of like, oh, yeah, no, I'm good, buddy. Oh, Henry. This will build. I'm sorry to keep staring up, and I want to give you guys a good view of these buildings and the brickwork and the stonework and the glasswork. It's all, I don't know, I like that classic look. It appeals to me. Coming back up on 4th Street here. This is the Marlin Ballroom. Elegant location for weddings and receptions. Awesome. We're sort of headed towards the Missouri here. If that helps you navigate yourself. This is Thorpe and Company Jewelers. Oh, look at this old clock. Pretty cool. I feel like maybe that's not a jewelry store anymore. Neat. Anyway, that guy, you probably didn't hear, but he was asking me something about the FBI. Maybe looking for the FBI building or something, but I kind of feel like maybe he was just joshing me a little bit. Trattoria Fresco, Italian Bistro. We came into town last night and we were looking for restaurants. It was a Sunday night. I didn't mention this is the last, right at the end of November for weather-wise. And did I tell you the temperature is 34 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 degree Celsius? 7:45 is when we started. It's probably about 8 o'clock now. Looks like a good coffee shop. Anyway, Sunday night, nothing's open. Finally find a burrito place, which is great. Perfect for us. And I was thinking, what we should do is find a good Italian restaurant to eat. You get on the road and it's easy just to pop into a pizza place or a burrito place, get some takeout, or eat something quick. But we're going to stay in, as we're crossing Nebraska Street, we're going to stay in, try and hustle here. Yeah, I can get across. St. Louis, outside of St. Louis tonight. And I think I remember, I went there for work. There's a public museum. Very cool. Cool bull. I kind of wonder, now I've seen a couple that have this sort of, statues that have this sort of welded rod texture, and I wonder if it's the same guy. El Toro, it is not. El Toro, Angry Bull by Dr. James Busby of Bemidji. That's over in Minnesota. That was like Sorensen or something like that. Here's the Educational Service Center over here. It's so easy for me to get distracted. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, St. Louis. So I used to work for in software, and a long time ago, outside of DC. And one of our clients was Boeing, who has a big factory there in St. Louis. And I discovered, we went out to eat, and oh, look at this building. One of the things there is, I think this is right, fried ravioli. And I remember being quite good. And so that's one of the things I want to do is go get some Italian food and or fried ravioli. This is super good. I'm going to go over here, try not to get run over. I'm going to show you this building. Look at this, the Badgero. Look at that stonework. I just love that 30s, 20s, earlier stonework that I don't see much anymore. I like modern architecture, but they don't, that's so expensive to do these days, and probably kind of a rare skill set, I would have to assume. There's some more public art. Looks like they're rehabbing it, so hopefully it's going to be redone. 4th, and then I'm going to back up here so I can read this sign. Oi. 4th and Jackson. Cross over here. That was actually a Mustang. It doesn't sound like a Mustang. Not like they're supposed to sound anyway. I was unpacking we have all this stuff in storage because if you're not familiar with our story, in 2016 we sold our house and most of our stuff and put the rest in storage. And oh, look at this kind of ironwork, sky bridge. So we've had stuff in storage for 5 years, and we go in and reorder it, get rid of stuff, put new stuff in there. But we bought our house this summer, and we had it painted on the inside, so we haven't been unpacking really. And I finally realized, there's no reason for me not to bring these 2 bins of clothing that have been in here for so long and put them in the closet. And I had these suits, and I just saw a guy that was dressed up for work, and when I'd go to the office, I'd wear a sport coat or at the very least pardon the sniffles, at the very least a shirt, dress shirt, and tie, and slacks, and there's stuff in there that I haven't worn for decades. I've got a suit that I haven't worn, and can't even think of when I would have worn it. That was Jones Street that we crossed. There's the United Center over here. I'm I think, maybe getting to the end of downtown. Well, maybe not. Look at this. Finding a whole new building to check out. Or maybe that's just building facades painted onto another building. Who knows? We'll discover here in a minute. Anyway, that was kind of funny. Found my old tuxedo, which I have worn once. Went to a 1920s themed party, which was super fun. Our friends had, and I grew a little pencil mustache, slicked my hair back, and wore my tuxedo from college. Still almost fit. Pretty close at the time. Probably not anymore, but looks like we're getting to some more old historic stuff. I love it. Seems to be the Promenade Cinema over here. If you guys have any questions about Sioux City or the channel or about the gear I use, here's the Courtyard by Marriott. Please let me know. I'm happy to answer whatever. Can't remember what her current channel name is, but Angela, who's from London, asked that I do that at some point. was asked for some information. I mentioned that I maybe would do a video of that, but I was going to have to wait until we get back to Montana, and it probably won't be a scheduled walk. I try and do these walks currently on Mondays and Thursdays. Click the bell to get notified. I think they're still doing that. Anywho, cross over because there's some more stonework and a plaque. Anyway, I'd like to share that. It's certainly been an evolution over the years. Started in Edinburgh, Scotland in 2017. This is the Roth Fountain. Pretty cool. I think it might be. There's a little thing on how it works. And I'm not sure. I'm not going to take the time to read that, but I like the stonework and brickwork, and it doesn't even look like looks new. Newer. Ooh, Marteau. Looks like a brewery. Yeah. Nice. This was the series of buildings I was talking about. Reminds me a little bit of Budapest. Kind of over in the, I forget what the name of the neighborhood is, but it's the Jewish Quarter, where historically, when Jewish people were, I think, required to live in certain areas or ghettos. Anyway, there's a couple, and there's a mural of a storefront, and has a shop. It's like that. It's better though. It's newer. That's pretty cool. Let's go take a look. Francis Canteen. This is pretty cool. I like this. Little pocket park here. Dogs and cats in the windows. Little scenes. I don't know if you guys have seen the Hulu show, Only Murders in the Buildings. Great show, but it kind of reminds me of the intro to that. There's such detail in the faces. Can't help but think that they're based on actual people. In memory of Francis Grotkin. I wonder if that's him or he. It's cool. I love the glass work at the first two stories of this building are, I believe, iron or steel and glass. I like that too. And we're gonna pop out here because we can see some of these. Lots of great bars and restaurants down here. We passed a hotel. There's a bunch of other hotels in the area, obviously. And it looks like a really vibrant downtown area. Love seeing that. A lot of stuff going on here. There's some neat little alley, old power plant back there maybe. And an older series of graffiti. Best on 4th, home decor. So we're gonna just pop down here and then we'll sort of loop back down towards main downtown. Looks like this is gonna be a little bit of a longer walk for those of you that are into that sort of thing. Morning. It's always awkward when somebody pops out of a door and it looks like I'm filming them and I'm not trying to. Pardon me. The tail end of a cold here. I did get tested twice before coming on this road trip just to make sure I wasn't gonna spread anything too bad. It's kind of a cool building. I always marvel a little bit. This is the Crewman Building, and you can see the corner there is curved, and I marvel at how difficult or challenging that must be to as for the builders. One, you got to get the stonework, in this case, specially made. You gotta have curved bricks and stones. Then you gotta have curved glass, curved frames, all that stuff. Very cool buildings. Pardon me. It's that time of the morning where you gotta clear away all the gunk. There's several breweries and bars down here. Must be it's called the Plymouth Block, maybe, over here on the right anyway. Some banks. Come down here and see this warehouse. So I assume that this bridge up here goes over either the railroad or the interstate. Look at this cool building. Heidman Law Firm. Sweet building. Interstate 29 kind of follows the Missouri, the Big Sioux and the Missouri through here. And we're kind of near Minnesota, not right on Minnesota. We're kind of near South. We're definitely near South Dakota, not far from Nebraska, and Teasers Gentlemen's Club. So let's kind of go up a block and see what we find. I think I read that. So there's a bunch of little Sioux Falls areas, and they call them the Sioux around here. Or at least on TV news. I think that's what I read. And I read that the Yankton Sioux were in this area prior to European settlement. Not sure what we're going to find up this way. It might just be old commercial space. I kind of like this metallic brick that they've closed up these windows with. It's kind of a nice mix of modern and old. There's an old firehouse over there. So maybe it's a firehouse bar. And then over here is just warehouse industrial space. Okay, beyond the firehouse looks like there might be a couple other bars maybe. And the Dream Dress. But I'm not going to go down there. That's apparently the railroad and the river. I'm going to go back up here. We're on 5th. We were just on Iowa. Headed up towards Court Street. Sizable church up there, beyond the Wellness Center. Family Wellness Associates, I guess. Giant turbine or electric engine up here. Malloy, it says on it. I don't know what that means. Sorry for my stumbles. Crossover. So you can see kind of down where we were. This is 4th down sometimes wonder if I would be better served keeping these videos quiet without the rambling, but then you guys make it pretty clear, at least some of you, that you really like the talking. So, and I like the talking. Somebody's got their car done up like a reindeer. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. I have to remind myself sometimes that growth for the sake of growth isn't really that valuable or worth pursuing. I like the fact that this is kind of a community, and I love interacting with you guys in the comments, as I have said, but I really mean that. Feel free to peruse other comments and interact with each other as well. One of the things I like is that people will chime in with details and local knowledge and information that I had no idea about, or maybe I got wrong, or that I just didn't know at the time. And I love that. It helps me. Hopefully it helps the rest of you find out. I try to pin those comments. Well, sometimes I will try to pin those comments going forward. It just occurred to me that I should do that. And hopefully that'll be of benefit to everybody. Coming up on Jennings Street. Getting to some more modern buildings over here. Looks like an emergency, maybe a hospital. It does sort of, I believe that was the county building down here, and it sort of loops around alleywise. We're on 5th Street. Yeah, this whole hospital complex up here. Morning. It's like a mix of old and new. These hospitals are able to grow through private donations, often, or corporate donations, and they add on, and their ultimate goal is to serve the communities. So that's good. Mercy one. Huh. A lot of these Midwestern towns, these guys are over here putting on Christmas lights. I always kind of wondered how they do that. They got a giant pole with a hook on the end, and they kind of walk it around. Cool. They have, because it gets windy and cold in the winter, brutally so sometimes, they often have a lot of these skywalks. So it helps with navigating the car-centric streets coming up on Jones Street here, and also keeps people out of the bitter cold. Quite a large hospital. I mean, it's 2 blocks, city blocks. Coming up on Jackson, and again, we are on 5th Street right now. So if we look across there, it looks like maybe an old factory or something. It's kind of neat. A lot of glass up there. Ooh, love it when I catch the light. Jackson Street Brewing down here, and a tattoo parlor. Love seeing all these local breweries. I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago when all the microbreweries were starting to show up. I read a little bit of a history about it. And, that's how it used to be. There'd be breweries everywhere in a town. It's hard to transport. Unlike whiskey. Which was actually, if you've ever heard of the Whiskey Rebellion, which was one of the first big tests of the American government in the 1780s, I think. George Washington was president, I believe. Anyway, farmers over in Appalachia, which was the kind of the western frontier of, we're going to make a right turn up here, and go up Nebraska. Anyway, they couldn't transport their wheat and their barley and their grains very easily. So they converted it to whiskey as a way of adding value, as a way of, pardon me, a way of concentrating the value. And then when the government tried to put a whiskey tax into effect, stonework here, the farmers didn't like that very much. It turned into an armed rebellion, and really big test for the new, federal government. The federal government was pretty weak back then. And I think it was Washington sent in the military, put it down. I don't think there was a considerable amount of violence at the time, but there could have been. It's the First Presbyterian Church, and then over there is the Warrior Hotel. I have to imagine that might be a little bit fancier, or maybe it was fancier, or was going to be fancier. Looks nice. Love that stonework, very cool. And then if you look at this next building, the Davidson Building, apparently, also very cool. Oh, this is the one we pointed out earlier. I'm sort of gotten turned around a little bit here. Thought we were zigging when we're zagging. Still, very cool. We're going to go down a little bit further here and make a right turn on Pierce, which I believe, curious, that must have been a church at some point down there, the clock tower. Let's take a look-see. one more block. All right, we came that way, so we'll go down a block and then head right. Maybe when I said historic 4th Street, should have been historic Pearl District. I'm seeing a sign across the way about that. I guess this is the library off to the left. I see library parking here. Just a big stone edifice. All right. I am a little bit turned around here. Recognizing some of this from before. I'm going to blame the changing light throwing me off. That is a massive, massive building, and it's not a church, it's City Hall. Really cool. All right, here's where we've actually been down here a little bit before, I think. We're gonna just do another block here, and then we're gonna keep going up to the Scottish Rite Masonic Temple. An old building over here. And we pass this one. It's a police memorial, public safety memorial, sorry. Morning. There's an auditorium now. We've obviously seen some of these buildings, but I think I was going crossways up here. And we're just going to go up a little bit further because there's some cool buildings that I can see in the distance. Cross. We just crossed 7th. When I say cool old buildings, in this case I mean some buildings I see in the distance that I want to take a look at. No guarantees. But I mean, if you see something that says Scottish Rite Masonic Temple, you gotta check it out. I believe that we are in Woodbury County, as I keep seeing signs for Woodbury County. When I said so Woodbury County. Also, when I said the Sioux, I should have said Sioux Land. Got a little bit confused earlier. So if you've already corrected me in the comments, thank you. But I saw a sign that corrected me. I just want to go up here and check out this this church. Hi there. I guess it's a church up here. Maybe some parkland. So here's the Scottish Rite Temple. I think it's just a Masonic lodge. Good, thanks. I related the story of the little road, not rage, but anger earlier, and made me some other things that I think a lot while I'm driving and walking and stuff. And one of the things that made me think about was that, you know, that's one small negative interaction I had. But, you know, then we got that guy. Hey, how you doing? Nice morning. And everybody else that's had smiles and greetings. You know, I think we've evolved out of necessity to let those negative impacts stick with us. You know, you can get it when you're in the wild space as a wild animal on the savannah or prairie or woodland. You can get a million things right, but one wrong one, and that's the end of you as an animal. So it's important as we free ourselves from our biological atavistic shackles to remember and focus on the positive balance there as well. In my opinion. It's that kind of neat old house over there. Don't see a historical marker. Doesn't seem to be inhabited or in use. Funny the inertia that builds up over time. All right, well, this is the Cathedral of the Epiphany on Douglas and 10th. I see that it's a Catholic high school up there, so maybe it's a Catholic cathedral, I assume. And there's Cathedral of the Epiphany on the other side. I'm going to turn down, and as we walk down this street back towards downtown, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us here in Sioux City, Iowa. It's such a neat, beautiful downtown. I'm really impressed with all these cool old buildings, how many have been preserved, how well they're kept up. You know, this one in the distance here, I don't know if they're working on it. Hopefully they are. It's got a lot of cool old work around at the street level, but even peeking in the windows and seeing sort of the upper level that maybe had been modified for the 70s or 80s, old curtains in there, it really sparks the imagination. And again, despite my one negative interaction out on the highway, a lot of nice people here. It seems to be a lot of stuff going on downtown, really vibrant area. And of course you got this beautiful light outside. You're right near the river, two rivers actually, nice park. I can't remember the name of the park. We've stopped there with our kids before on other cross-country adventures. But anyway, lots of cool stuff here. Really impressed with Sioux City, even more than I expected. Pardon me. So we are headed east and south, and I hope you'll come back and check us out if you've enjoyed this walk, if it's helped your exercise workout, your treadmill workout, whatever you might be on. I know you guys have a lot of various machines, elliptical. I like to keep on stepping, but that doesn't really work for some of these these workout machines like the ellipticals. I don't think elliptin is the word. Anyway, we will see you again soon. I'm going to film a couple more today. Hoping to hit, but no guarantees, Omaha, Kansas City, St. Louis. We're going to hit a High Point, Missouri, and then we're going to go south and east and make our way as best we can. So come back soon. Tell your friends if you haven't done so yet. That would be a big help. They might be interested in this. Comment, but mainly keep on stepping.